Thank you very much indeed, Sir Ralph, for all that you do for us. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been an incredible week, and one thing is for certain, the art of the song recital is alive and flourishing, not only here in Wigmore Street, but throughout the world. We've been deeply impressed with the standard of performance heard throughout the competition, and we thank all the competitors for giving us such joy.
My name is Stuart Jackson, and I'm a Londoner born and raised.
Hello, my name is Dominik Königer. I'm from Hamburg, Germany.
I'm Jonathan McGovern. I'm 25. I'm from Hazelmere, Surrey.
I am Dorothea Lang. I'm from Budapest. This is my first time in London.
Wenn meine Mutter hexen könnt, da müsst sie mit dem Regiment nach Frankreich überall mit hin und wär die Marketenderin. Por menos precio se vende, por menos precio se vende, perdió su valor, porque perdió su valor. Fließe, fließe, lieber Fluss, nimmer werd ich froh, so verrauschte Schätz und Kuss und die
So, Ralph, have you enjoyed your week?
Very much indeed. Wonderful, wonderful performances, and I think the standards have really gone up and up since we started in 1997. That was the date of our first Wigmore International Song Competition, and as you know, it's a biannual event, and I think really this one, from my point of view, is probably the highest standard we have achieved yet.
That's wonderful to hear.
That view may not be shared by some of the other people,
no.
But I would be surprised, because I get the impression that this is a general feeling.
And a lovely mixture of national styles and different personalities.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, as you know, we've had 170 applicants from 33 countries, and it was a very difficult process really to whittle them down to 28, and then you have those perform, and I know it's been very difficult to reach the point where you are left with four.
Indeed. Right. Anyway, we all know that a competition like this cannot take place without support, so can I just say a very big thank you on behalf of all the people in the audience.
Thank you very much indeed. Well, I think it's a great pleasure for me and a great privilege to be able to give some financial support to this event, and I think it's very important to do this in order to get early on some great talent and nurture them and give them a little lift to the stars, as Clifford Curzon once upon a time put it, and I'm totally in support of that. I think we should help, particularly in these times, which are more difficult, and we ought to do whatever we can to help their careers, and I think we are achieving that objective.
I know you are. Sir Ralph Cohn, thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed.
It's been an extraordinary week. I think it's the highest standard that we've ever had for the song competition, and naturally this is now the 7th competition, so it's obviously become more famous, and more singers and teachers, importantly, are hearing about it.
Yes.
And they're encouraging their students to apply. So it's wonderful to have this pool of talent, and it makes it a difficult job for the jury. Wonderful spectator support for the audience.
Yes.
And the atmosphere backstage is wonderful. And I think that the singers and pianists are getting a great amount out of the exposure, out of the experience, all the things that a competition should be about, because it's certainly not just about winning prizes.
No, we sensed this morning, interviewing some of the candidates who'd been eliminated, we sensed a very positive vibe down in the restaurant where the feedback sessions were happening. There seemed a very positive sense of these young artists taking from it lessons on different levels.
Yes, and so many, of course, have been encouraged to put more effort into preparing song repertoire specifically for this competition, and they know the work they're going to have to put in the future if this is going to be a cornerstone of any career. So I think it's winners all round, really.
Most of the judges are meeting with all the singers and their pianists to go through what they did in the first round and hopefully be able to read our notes about what we said, and just give them encouragement, because the standard's been so amazing, and just to give them maybe pointers to what they might do differently, or to say what was good, or of different reaction to the songs, or what they thought they were doing that maybe didn't read. Actually, they're all fantastic, and it's indicative of how good they were, that I can actually remember the minute I see the singer, I can remember exactly how they sang and the pianist played. Nobody was bland, nobody went over my head, so that's fantastic. That's what we're doing this morning.
Now, I know the result isn't what we might have wished for you.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
But Lexi, you're being very smiley about this, and you taking it like a trooper. What is your attitude to rejection on this level? Are you?
Well, I mean, it's hard to look at it as rejection, honestly, because, I mean, I feel like everyone here has their own artistic voice, and it's not about the sound necessarily or other things like that. It's just about presenting who you are as an artist and getting a response from that, whether it's positive or negative. You know, it's really valuable.
I think that's a wonderful attitude.
Yeah.
Have you had interesting feedback from your jury sessions?
I have, yes. It's been really, really informative and really helpful, I think. So it'll be nice to apply some of that and move on from here.
Diana, how has your week been?
Oh, great, absolutely fantastic. We've been through the semi-final, and it was such an experience to sing in a Wigmore Hall, and a great pleasure to sing with Michele.
Michele, have you enjoyed your week?
A lot. It was a bit stressful, but really, really, really exciting, absolutely exciting.
Now, I know the result isn't what you might have chosen, but can we ask you, what will you take away from this experience?
Everything. I mean, the playing, singing at the Wigmore Hall, the feedback from the jury, the big experience that we've got with this great competition. Everything what we can.
And what has that feedback been?
Very interesting, in my opinion. Tiny details that are actually very important, you know, in a song. So especially in the song repertoire, you have to be really careful about every little detail. And so it's very interesting to, you know, understand what they expect you to do. Very challenging and interesting thing for me.
Diana, do you feel the same?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, the jurors, they've been wonderful, saying also technical stuff, and I'm very impressed.
Good, so it's been a positive experience all around.
Absolutely.
So, gentlemen, condolences.
Hello. Oh, thank you.
I'm sorry the story doesn't have exactly the ending you would have chosen, but have you had a good week nonetheless?
It's been a tremendous week, yeah. It was a fantastic opportunity to meet a great musician standing next to me.
Likewise.
Did you not know one another before? Were you blind dated?
We were somewhat blind dated. We had a colleague, a friend of mine in New York, who said, if you do not work with John Reid, you're crazy, you're a match made in heaven. So I said, yeah, absolutely. So we were in contact for a while and decided to work together. Yeah.
Wonderful. And have you had interesting feedback from the jurors you've spoken to so far?
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting because much of the feedback is sort of philosophically what I agree with completely, and I think it's about the process of taking the ideas and being able to execute them through experience, and so it was great to hear what the judges had to say. But this competition, if I may digress a bit, is an amazing opportunity to really cultivate a group of music, that you have required things that you have to do in each round, and to craft something around that is an excellent challenge. So I feel like even though I'm not one of the final four, I was able to put so much work into a large amount of repertoire and really dive through so much music.
And I hope you two will find an opportunity to work together in the future.
It will happen. Yeah.
So the story goes on.
Yeah,
Definitely.
We are judging voices, which has a lot to do with taste. Yeah, I mean, I can love a voice, and Sarah Walker, for example, can say, "I hate this voice," and she will have arguments against it, and I will have, hopefully, a lot of arguments pro singer, and that's totally okay. And we are working in a very democratic system, so everybody is allowed to have his opinion, and only if there would be a decision where I hardly disagree, I think we would definitely have a fight, but only verbal, not physically.
And that's a good thing to hear. And are you discerning over the competition, are you discerning schools of singing or schools of national taste of different, can you categorize elements in national schools, do you think?
Technically, yes. You can hear, especially with men, the kind of English school, which you can hear that a lot of beginning notes are very often sing without any vibrato.
Straight, yeah.
Which is very obvious here in England. I don't like that totally very much. It's very good for old music, but not really for romantic music, but that's my taste. Mm-hmm. And a little bit also the American way, which are much more orientated to present themselves in a kind of more showing way.
You're not saying that in the complimentary way, I'm sensing.
I think it's totally clear that you have to present yourself anyway if you do a recital. No, sometimes it's, for my opinion, a little bit too much.
Yeah.
But you know, they are young, and there are a lot of people where this kind of showing is also a kind of insecurity.
Or it can be a way of covering up nerves.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's totally understandable. I mean, excuse me, I'm 51 now, and if I'm remembering with 23 or 25 to stand there in front of a really famous jury and a big audience in a very famous hall, that's a lot of facts that you have to handle, and I think they did all very, very well.
What I like about the competition here is that you are not, as in some competitions, doing a huge amount of work in some dismal town hall in the Ruhrgebiet in Germany, but you are actually playing on one of the most beautiful pianos in London, in the greatest acoustic in London, and surrounded by an audience of enthusiasts. Simply being here as an experience is life-changing.
Yeah.
And so people tend to make friends, the whole collegial atmosphere. There are competitions that are extremely well run and extremely worthwhile winning, but which are very heartless and lifeless. And I don't think that's what we've got here.
And how's the piano playing been?
The piano playing has been one of the most remarkable aspects of this competition. There has been almost no piano playing that one would say is not worthy of the hall from any of the competitors. There's been some magisterial piano playing. There's been some very poetic piano playing. There's been, in my opinion, some misguided things happening, but when was that not the case when a juror listens to something? But never misguided in the way that suggests incompetence or lack of ability, just a different viewpoint, just according to a stylistic aspect. The fingers have worked well. Very, very few ugly sounds have come from that keyboard. And enormous, attentive, rehearsed musicianship in terms of the duos.
Wonderful. Now, I have to say, on a personal note, it's a great pleasure for me to see you in this final, as you have turned pages for me many times in this stage.
I have, yeah.
And I'm sure not everyone who will be cheering you on tomorrow realises that that in your past you have not only turned a page, but am I also right in saying you've torn the odd ticket?
I have. Torn stubs.
Well, I can only rejoice for you, Jonathan. I think it's marvellous. Actually, on a serious point, do you think that sitting on stage, seeing us geriatrics do it, do you think that that has given you a sense of ownership of the hall, or changed your relationship with it at all?
I think it got me to realise, I mean, just being able to sit there is a bit like a masterclass. Yeah. I get to sit there, I mean, I do have to concentrate and make sure I do turn your page, but being 6 feet away from idols and even closer to great pianists is a real privilege. And over that, even if it's chamber music, there's always something, and it's working. We have a great teacher up at the academy called Manju Dimitri, who talks about working on your aesthetic, which is what makes you as an artist who you are. And if it's watching plays, seeing music, just being exposed to it, you take something from it. So I feel really lucky to have just been sort of absorbing some osmosis through that. On another side, it's great to see what people are like backstage. Yeah. And it's very easy as an audience. I think it's a brilliant thing, but sometimes there's a lot of reverence to what goes on stage. And that can add to a lot of nerves before you go on. You sort of in the green room beforehand. But you realise everyone goes through the same things when I'm making tea and coffee with someone backstage. And everyone has the same nerves, same thoughts, same processes, and we're all going out there to perform and enjoy it.
Yeah, it's very liberating, I think, to see that.
Absolutely.
The warts and all aspect.
The other side, and it's, if you see the door at the Wigmore, it's as soon as these people cross that line, it's just, you know, people grow about 6 feet. It's fascinating.
Well, I hope you grow 6 feet tomorrow. I wish you all the very best.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Coq ou cheval, jusque la peau d'un violon, en un chanteur, un seul oiseau, dansera agile avec sa femme, couple trempé dans son printemps. Lors de l'herbe, le plan du ciel, séparé par les flammes bleues de la santé, de la rosée, le sang s'irise, le cœur tente, un couple le premier reflet, perdu dans un souterrain de neige la vie opulente des cygnes. Un visage aux lèvres de lune qui n'a jamais dormi la nuit. Mein schöner Stern, ich bitte dich, oh, lasse du dein heiteres Licht nicht trüben durch den Dampf in mir. Vielmehr den Dampf in mir zu Licht, mein schöner Stern verklären hilft. Mein schöner Stern, ich bitte dich, nicht sinkt herab zur Erde dich, weil du mich noch hier unten siehst. Heb auf, vielmehr zu Himmel nicht, mein schöner Stern, wo du schon bist. Und wieder hatt ich der Schönsten gedacht, die nur in Träumen bisher ich gesehen. Es trieb mich hinaus in die lichte Nacht, durch stille Gründe musst ich gehen. Da auf einmal glänzte das Tal, schaurig, als wär's ein Geistersaal. Da rauschten zusammen zur Tanzmelodei der Strom und die Winde mit Klingen und Zischen. Da weht es im flüchtigen Zuge herbei, aus Felsen und Tale, aus Wellen und Büschen. Und im Mondesglanz ein weißer Kranz, tanzen die Elfen den Reigentanz. Ein luftiges Weib, die Königin war es, ich hörte sie singen. Lass ab von dem schweren irdischen Leib, lass ab von den törichten irdischen Dingen. Nur im Mondenschein ist Leben allein, nur in Träumen zu schweben, ein ewiges Sein. Ich bin's, die in Träumen du oft gesehen, ich bin's, die als Liebchen du oft gesungen, ich bin es, die Elfenkönigin. Du wolltest mich schauen, es ist dir gelungen, nun sollst du mein auf ewig sein. Komm mit in den Elfenrein. Schon zogen, schon flogen sie all um mich her, da wehte der Morgen, da bin ich genesen. Fahr wohl nun, du Elfenkönigin, jetzt will ein anderes Lieb ich mir erlesen. Und Trug und Schein und von Herzen rein wird wohl auch für mich ein zu finden sein. Wird wohl auch für mich ein zu finden sein.
And first prize to the baritone, Dominic Koeniger.
Dominic, many congratulations. Thrilled for you.
Thank you very much.
Is it possible to put into words what this means to you?
Well, first of all, this is just overwhelming. I'm still shaking. I can't stop smiling. This is the first thing, and this means, it means a lot. It's such an important competition here, and such an important hall, such important people in the jury. This is just an honor. I'm just overwhelmed.
Fantastic. And we must pay tribute also to your wonderful pianist, Volker.
Yeah, definitely.
Because we know that he was part of the entire creative process.
Half of the work was just Volker Kraft's, due to Volker Kraft's.
So you've got to give him half the roses.
Yeah, half of it.
I think he deserves it. You deserve a beer.
Yeah, I'm longing for one now.
Go and have one.
Can we go and get one?
You definitely.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Nein, hilfe mir nicht, lass mich auch dies ertragen. Um dich, die mich erhebt, wenn sie mich bricht. Ich kenn das Wort dem alle Nächte tagen. Ich liebe dich. Süße Wort Licht. Es war
Ganz